Hello everyone, welcome to our second part of the chapter Chemical Reaction and Equation for class 10th chemistry. Okay, so in the previous part we discussed about physical and chemical changes, equation, chemical equation, balancing and types. Now in this part we will discuss about information in chemical equation, characteristics of chemical equation, questions from NCERT, CBSE previous year examinations, some MCQs and some hot questions. Okay, now information in chemical equation. So in the previous chapter or in the previous part we discussed about the chemical equation. So I'm just again giving you a little bit of revision of the previous part, that is a chemical equation. So chemical equation is a way of representing a chemical reaction with the help of some symbols of different chemical substances on a piece of paper. That is simply a representation of chemical reaction on a piece of paper using some symbols is known as chemical equation. So the information which a chemical equation gives us is the reaction symbol. That is, a gas is there, it means upward arrow, it means a gas, downward arrow, it means precipitate. This type of symbol is there, it means equilibrium. So precipitate and equilibrium we will discuss in the further chapter. Chemical substance and their state. So chemical substance, for example, if oxygen is there we write as O, if sodium is there we write as Na, if carbon is there we write as C. So these are the what chemical substances. If CO2 is there we write, if carbon dioxide is there we write CO2. So different chemical substances are there, we use the symbol of the chemical substances and the state of that particular chemical substance. For example, ethanol. So ethanol is C2H5OH, which is in liquid state. For example, SO2, gas is there, it is in gaseous, we write as this small g in a subscript. If some solid part is there, for example, if carbon solid is there, we write as a solid S. If aqueous solution is there, that is a solution or you can say a substance mixed in water, we write AQ in small letters. Okay, so third is number of moles of substance reacting and yielding the product. So whatever the substance which are going to react, the number of moles and the product which is formed by the reacting of these substances is given by a chemical equation. Fourth point, for the fourth information what we get is the amount of heat absorbed and evolved. If the amount of heat is absorbed, it means it is a endothermic reaction. If amount of heat is given out, that is evolved, it means a exothermic reaction. Mostly we write in this chemical equation or in a chemical equation we write positive heat means which is heat is evolved. There are so many reactions in which heat is required as a reactant or which gives you heat as a product. The fifth information is reaction conditions like temperature, pressure, catalyst, etc. So all these five information can be summarized in this chemical equation. So in this chemical equation, carbon monoxide is going to react with hydrogen at particular temperature pressure, that is what reaction conditions, with this catalyst and is going to form methanol. So now again moving towards the reaction, carbon monoxide, this is what chemical symbol. This is the state of the chemical substance, that is gaseous state. Hydrogen H2, H2 is the symbol of hydrogen. Again state is gaseous state. This 2 is the stoichiometric coefficient, that is the number of moles of substance which is going to react. Here 1 mole of carbon monoxide and 2 moles of hydrogen are going to react. So they are going to react at particular temperature and pressure. So temperature here we have is 300 degrees Celsius and pressure is 300 atmosphere. So this is for temperature and pressure condition, but this is not sufficient. We require some amount of catalyst. Catalysts are those substances which do not take part in a chemical, which takes part in a chemical reaction just in order to increase the rate of reaction. You can say it is just a supervision sort of thing. So these two combine together and form CH3OH, that is methanol, which is liquid in state. Okay, so moving further, now what is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is a process that leads to the transformation of one set of chemical substance to another. Or in simple language, we can say that a chemical reaction involves a chemical change, that is, a production of new substance in which substances react to form a new substance with entirely new properties. So, during a chemical reaction, the reactants react with each other and they form a product which is totally of different property from that of the reactant. So, what happens in a chemical reaction? So, during a chemical reaction, new bonds are formed with the breaking of old bonds. So old bonds break down and the new bonds are formed. So how you can write in the examination? This is an important topic. Sometimes a 1 mark question is there. What happens during a chemical reaction? So during a chemical reaction, there is a breaking of bonds between the atom of the reacting molecule, that is reactant molecule atoms break down to give product and the new bonds are formed. Now during this bond formation or breakdown process, there may be release or absorption of energy. So if absorption of energy is there, it means endothermic reaction. If there is a release of energy is there, it means a exothermic reaction. So during a chemical reaction, there is breaking and formation of bond along with release and evolution and absorption of the heat. Now, characteristics of chemical reaction, or how you can find out that that particular change is a chemical change. So, chemical reaction can be observed with the help of the following observation. So, first clue what or evidence what we get that particular thing is a chemical change is the change in color. For example, baking of duff or bread duff baking, so which is white in color when you prepare a duff, but when you bake it, it converts into a dark brown color. That means a color change, or which is a description of a chemical reaction. Smell change. Sometimes egg rottens, when we are not keeping them in the fridge, it gives you some particular smell. So this bad smell of egg is the indication of a chemical change which is given by the change in the smell. New matter is created. Burning of wood, wood burns, or you can say wood reacts with atmospheric oxygen and gives you ash, which is a totally different thing from that of the wood. Gas is created. For example, whenever acid reacts with any metal, it gives you some sort of gas. Or baking soda, which is added in vinegar, gives you carbon dioxide. So there is a formation of gas whenever a chemical reaction takes place. Heat or light creation, for example, fireworks, both heat and light is created whenever there is a firework because of the burning of some sort of chemicals. Different colors depend upon the different chemicals burning. Okay, now we will discuss all these things in detail. The first we will discuss is evolution of gas. So some reaction occurs with evolution of gas or mixture of gases. For example, if zinc solid reacts with HCl or H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, it gives you zinc chloride in case of HCl and zinc sulfate in case of sulfuric acid with the release of hydrogen gas. Now in this chemical equation, you can clearly see an upward arrow. It means this H2 is a gas. This is aqueous solution. Zinc is converting into its aqueous solution. Zinc is solid. HCl is aqueous. Aqueous means that is mixed with water. So in this chemical reaction, hydrogen gas is evolved. Now looking towards the diagram of this particular reaction, here the test tube is fixed on a common stand. In the test tube, we have dilute sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, and zinc granules. Now, first question is there on the zinc granule. Instead of using zinc granule, we can use zinc piece or zinc powder. So zinc, write this particular thing, zinc piece, zinc granule and zinc powder. So what is the difference between if we use zinc piece, zinc granule or zinc powder? If you are using zinc piece, reaction is little bit slow. If you are using zinc granules, reaction will be little bit fast. And if you are using zinc powder, so there will be a very violent reaction. Each and every you can say zinc piece, powder and granules will react, but there is a difference in the rate of reaction, which is because of the surface area. Okay, so first question completes. Now, as soon as zinc granules react with dilute sulfuric acid, a production of hydrogen gas is there. But what is the second question? What is the observation you find when this zinc granules react with sulfuric acid? So observation is brisk effervescence or formation of bubbles. So as soon as sulfuric acid reacts with zinc granules, or we have HCl which reacts with zinc granule, there is a formation of bubbles and there is a formation of bubbles and brisk effervescence. Remember this question. Most of your students, you write hydrogen gas is formed. No hydrogen gas is formed. Bubbles or brisk effervescence. You cannot write bubbles of hydrogen gas is formed. You have to write only brisk effervescence. The first observation. Now with the help of this delivery tube and the soap solution, we got the bubbles of hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas is trapped in these bubbles. So in order to detect whether the produced gas is hydrogen or not, we use this method, that is candle. If we put a burning candle in near hydrogen gas, because hydrogen is very flammable, so burning of hydrogen gas is with a pop-up sound. You will get a pop-up sound as soon as it burns or this bubble strike with the candle. So this is what the whole scenario in which you can discuss, in which we have discussed evolution of a gas during a chemical reaction. So in the next we have change in temperature. There are several equations or several chemical reactions which occurs with a change in temperature. Sometimes the temperature increases or sometimes the temperature decreases. For example, we have quicklime, that is CaO, reacts with water and forms CaOH whole twice, and it gives you a very huge amount of heat. Now this CaOH whole twice, known as lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, when reacts with carbon dioxide, it forms calcium carbonate and water. So this reaction occurs in case of our whitewashing. So remember this equation. This equation is very important. Examples, we have a reaction between glycerin and potassium permanganate produces a very huge heat, that is there is an increase in temperature. And whenever a reaction between vinegar and baking soda is accompanied by the drop in temperature. So these are the opposite reaction in which the temperature increases, and in this reaction the temperature is decreased. So moving towards the next characteristic, we have formation of precipitate. This is one of the unique characteristic. Precipitate means whenever two aqueous solution reacts with each other, they form a solid substance which may float on the surface of aqueous solution or which may settle down. This solid substance is known as precipitate. I know this is a little bit of big definition. So what you can write, sometimes when two substances are mixed together, a solid substance is created or separates out from the solution, which is known as precipitate. So when a solution of lead nitrate and potassium iodide are mixed, lead particles and iodide particles combine together and form lead iodide, that is PbI2, which is yellow in color, and there is a precipitate formation of lead iodide. So this is lead nitrate, which is white in color. As soon as in the lead nitrate we mix potassium iodide, it converts into yellow color, and this yellow, all these things are nothing but lead iodide. So again, this is important part. What you have to remember, students, this equation, one of the frequently asked questions in many of your exams is this equation. So what is the chemical equation when lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide, or you can get a twisted question, that is, what is the formula or name of the yellow colored precipitate formed during the reaction of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. This is PbI2 is the chemical formula, and lead iodide is the name of that particular chemical. Remember these two things. The best way to learn from this online courses or online classes is just take out your pen and paper or prepare your notes. Whenever you think that the teacher is fast, just pause your video, write down each and everything. Again, you can rewind it, again repeat it, and write down each and everything, and especially the points which are said important. Okay. So the next is change in color. Some chemical reaction are categorized by the change in color. For example, when sulfur dioxide is passed through potassium dichromate solution, which is an orange color, we will get a green color. So this is what change in color situation. Then we have change in physical state. Most of the hydrocarbons are liquid in state. Whenever they react with oxygen, or whenever there is a combustion of hydrocarbon, they converts into carbon dioxide and water, which is liquid, which is gas and liquid in state. You can clearly see in this picture, this is liquid, this is solid, both are combining together and forming gases and liquid. So there is a change in physical state of a chemical substance. So these are the things which happens during, these are the, you can say, evidences of chemical reaction. So now it's a question time. So first question is, why is photosynthesis considered an endothermic reaction? So photosynthesis, photo means light, synthesis means formation. So photosynthesis, we all know that it is the formation of food by the plant, which require heat and sunlight. So heat is required in the reactant part, so we can say that this is a endothermic reaction, because photosynthesis, so what you can write in the exam, photosynthesis require heat and sunlight as a reactant, so we can say that it is an endothermic reaction. Second part, write two characteristics of chemical reaction which takes place when dilute sulfuric acid is poured over zinc granules. So whenever zinc granules react with sulfuric acid, there is increase in temperature along with formation of gas, and this gas is hydrogen gas. Third part, state one characteristics of each of the following, state one characteristic of chemical reaction which takes place when dilute sulfuric acid is added to sodium carbonate. So whenever dilute sulfuric acid mixed with sodium carbonate, formation of gas is there. Lemon juice is added gradually over potassium permanganate. Lemon juice is added over potassium permanganate, evolution of heat. Dilute sulfuric acid is added to barium chloride, formation of precipitate. Quicklime is treated with water, evolution of gas or change in temperature. So these are the questions which you need to keep in mind. If you have any doubt, you just pause your video, rewind it, again listen it. Okay, now MCQ questions. Nowadays these MCQs are the part of your CBSE examination. So one of the following is an endothermic reaction. So endothermic means in which heat is used as a reactant part. So combination of carbon and oxygen to form carbon monoxide, this is an exothermic reaction. You have to remember this. Second is combination of nitrogen and oxygen to form nitrogen monoxide. This is the reaction which is endothermic in nature, that is, it requires some sort of heat to give this nitrogen monoxide, and both C and D are again what? Exothermic reaction. Second question is, one of the following is exothermic reaction. This is electrolysis of water. Electrolysis means heating, electro means electricity, lysis means breakdown of water with the help of electricity. Conversion of limestone into quicklime. Limestone is CaCO3 into quicklime, CaO. Process of photosynthesis, this is what? Endothermic. process of respiration. This is what exothermic reaction. So your answer will be part C. Now we have some hot questions. So first question is, you can also try to solve it. When the solution of a substance X is added to a solution of potassium iodide, we have discussed this thing, then a yellow solid separates out from the solution. What do you think the substance X is likely be? When a solution of substance X is added, so solution of substance X is added to a solution of potassium iodide, so X will be any compound of lead. It can be lead acetate, lead sulfate, anything related to lead. Okay. Second part, name the substance which the yellow solid consists of. Yellow solid is consist of lead iodide, that is PbI2. We have discussed this thing. Which characteristic of chemical reaction is illustrated in this reaction? Change in color and formation of precipitate. Write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction which takes place. You can see the previous slides. So this will be your answer. Lead nitrate, formation of precipitate, lead iodide. Okay. Now second question. I want you people to solve this question. Just pause your video and try to solve it. I will give you the answer. So I'm just giving you some sort of hint. When a metal X is treated with dilute acid Y, then a Z is formed. Now metal is heat treated with acid. So whenever a metal reacts with acid, it gives you hydrogen gas. So you can say that this Z is nothing but hydrogen, and this Y will be any acid, that will be sulfuric acid, or it may be a HCl, and X can be any metal which is in the higher order reactivity series of than that of the hydrogen. So question is, name any two metals which can behave like metal X. So any two metal which can behave like X will be zinc. It can be zinc, it can be aluminium, it can be iron, anyone. Name two acids which behave like acid Y, sulfuric acid and HCl, hydrochloric acid. Name the gas Z. Z is nothing but hydrogen gas. Is the Z lighter than the or heavier than the air? Z is lighter than that of the air. Hydrogen is less lighter than that of the air. Is the chemical reaction between X and dilute sulfuric acid Y is exothermic or endothermic? It is an exothermic reaction. So you can clearly see this answer. So this is all for today's class. So just before going, so just read this question. This will be your homework. And again, just read each and every part of this video very carefully and listen it very carefully. This question has been discussed in some of the previous slides. So I'm just, for your hint, I'm repeating it. When water is added gradually to a white solid X, a hiss sound is heard and a lot of heat is produced, forming a product Y. A suspension of Y in water is applied to the wall of a house during the whitewashing. We have discussed this thing. So just have a look at this particular question. This will be your homework. That's all for today's class. So in the next lecture, we will discuss about chemical reaction types, and we will discuss some of the questions and oxidation and reduction, oxidizing agent, reducing agents, and it will be the last, you can say, video of this course part. Then we will discuss about the previous year questions. So that's all for today. I'm again repeating, for best results, just try to pause this video and write each and everything which is available in this video. Good luck, all the best, stay safe, stay in quarantine.